Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is David Howe, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by a very special guest on this fine evening. YouTuber PapaGenos joins us on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Hey, everybody. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, very glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. You came at the perfect time with the Smash announcement of Min Min being in Smash. You're here we're going to talk about Smash, of course, but we're also going to talk about some of the leak culture, YouTube, Smash in general, and kind of what we're stoked for with the upcoming Fighters Pass DLC.
Cool. Yeah, no, all that stuff, all Smash speculation, rumors, leaks, all that sort of thing. It's totally my forte, so happy to be here. And like you said, the timing is perfect. We just got some new Smash information yesterday, so yeah, it's a great time to talk Smash.
Very good.
It really is. Also in this episode, we're going to discuss the new Tetris Maximus Cup. Shout out to David. That's for you. The EA Play event that happened last week, and the Mixer debacle with Microsoft shutting down Mixer recently.
Right.
And nothing of value was lost. We'll get into it.
Yeah, before we
I think
get
a lot of value was gained for certain people, honestly.
How much did Ninja make? Like 10 million or 15 million?
We'll get to it.
Okay. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing good. Like I said before we started recording, I've been in a perpetual state of stress, I feel like, but I'm doing a lot better this week.
That's great. Cheers.
How about
Little,
y'all?
little victories.
Yeah,
doing all right. I also have been going through a little bit of stressful stuff and kind of house hunting, but I think we finally found one today. Knocking on wood. I don't know if you can hear that, but that should be good for the rest of the month. And I'm a happy camper because you know what? Star Wars Racer actually released today. I wasn't. Yeah. We got PapaGenos wearing the Star Wars shirt, but it's for our audio listeners, which is everybody. I was totally convinced that they were going to pull another last minute delay, but it actually came out, and I'll talk about it later in the podcast.
I've been pretty good. I saw my neighbor today because there was packages that delivered to his house, and he knocked on my door. He says, "Hey, you have packages."
Wow.
And I talked to him.
Again, these little victories.
exciting times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good. Very excited with all the Smash news and stuff that happened yesterday. So obviously that was a good day for me. Always happy to get that sort of thing. But as far as, just my day-to-day stuff or whatever, just riding out the quarantine like everybody else. So, it's tough times all around, but happy to have some, all the gaming news that's happening right now has me distracted for once. So that's pretty cool. So happy to have all that,
It's a deluge of information.
Yeah.
Well, then briefly, before we get in the news, a couple quick shout outs to Neutral Ariel and Digital.exist on Instagram, who commented on one of our recent posts about Min Min getting into Smash. They are very excited and hyped for that. And also Digital.exist asked what we think about Bethesda character getting in and with the Mii costume. And I'm sure we will talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure. We'll also talk about Min Min's neutral air because that looks pretty strong.
But with that, if you're out there and you have any comments about today's episode or anything you want us to talk about in the future, leave us a note, give us a review. We love that kind of stuff. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll get into the news for the week. First up, there was a Pokémon Presents that happened right after our last podcast came out, and the big news there was a new Pokemon Snap. There was a bunch of other little things, and we'll talk about those too, but we got to talk about Pokemon Snap. Y'all excited for this?
Totally.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been wanting Pokemon Snap for a while. Actually, when I was watching the video, people were saying, what do you think's going to happen or whatever? And I said, I would love a Pokemon Snap too, just jokingly. And then it happened. And I was like, whoa, I did not expect that.
It's definitely one of those games that, because it hadn't released up to this point, a sequel to the original, I just assumed it never would. You know what I mean? It was like one of those games that feels like it was made for the Wii U, and then maybe they kind of, the Wii U wasn't selling enough, or it was late in the life cycle and they just decided to postpone it to the Switch. But either way, I'm happy, and the game looks gorgeous.
it feels weird that we're getting a new Pokemon Snap because for me, Pokemon Snap represents like it's right when I was working at Blockbuster Video and right before like video was going online.
Right.
This is what I rented, like one of the last few games I rented from a Blockbuster.
I didn't know that you worked at a Blockbuster. I worked at a Hollywood Video.
I worked at a Hollywood Video. I was about to jump in with that. Yeah. So, Matt, did you have there was, I believe it was Blockbuster. I'm almost positive it was Blockbuster, that there was a setup for Pokemon Snap where you could print out your photos. Did you have that at your Blockbuster?
While you're talking, I was trying to remember my store number. So whatever the store number was in Ohio, yes, we had it there and like the printer too.
Yeah, they would print out like stickers and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was like a little sticker roll of kind of like the Game Boy printer did. If you remember the Game Boy printer with the Game Boy camera. Oh yeah. So I worked at a Hollywood Video, but a lot of Hollywood videos had been former Blockbuster videos turned into Hollywood videos. So I was working at Hollywood Video when they closed, and I actually went with my boss to some other one before ours closed, another one in my state, to close that one down. And down in the basement was one of those Pokemon Snap like setup things in the basement of the Hollywood Video from when it was a Blockbuster. Yeah. I wanted it so bad. I was like begging my boss, like, can we throw this in the truck or something? He's like, no, we got to like throw everything away. They got it like, and I was like, no, I want this so badly. Yeah, it's one of my like regrets.
Jordan Fringe, he's a YouTuber. He actually just bought one. I think he like just got his own version, which is like he's like a Pokemon collector. So I feel like that's like a top tier get. You know,
I was like this close to getting one though. At the time, I was still living at my parents' house. I'm sure they would have hated me if I brought home that television thing. It's like, it's going to my room. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I was really close to getting one
That's
time.
Great.
But, oh well.
Cool.
I mean, I forgot how big. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about this kiosk more.
This is the episode. The episode is the Pokemon Snap kiosk.
I forget machine. Like how big it is because it's navy blue.
Yeah,
it's on a stand. It's like on a stand.
It's on a stand.
Too.
It's got so many words on it. There's like there's 4 instructions and a bright Pikachu yellow controller.
So the question isn't whether or not they're going to bring back the Pokemon Snap Station, but it's now that Blockbuster has gone under, where are they going to put these things? That's the real question.
Right. I mean, it's a hint that Blockbuster's coming back. It's really what we like confirm now. Most of their sales were Pokemon Snap stickers, and this is where they get all their
Blockbuster
sales.
for Smash confirmed. You heard it here.
Well, that is interesting idea that they might do something like that. But bringing it back to the game, this game looks really great. Like I'm not a Pokemon person. I'm not a Pokemon fan, but I think I'm going to get this game because it just looks pretty,
Yeah. It's I think Bandai Namco is developing this one, which is kind of like, I feel like the game looking so pretty is like kind of like a little slight at Game Freak. Like, because so many people were complaining about Sword and Shield and this game just looks gorgeous. Like the water effects kind of blew me away. Yeah. I thought it was really beautiful.
I mean, obviously a Pokemon Snap title is all about taking pictures. So, making it look gorgeous is a key element here. But yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, this is when I envision like what's Pokemon supposed to look like on a modern day Nintendo console.
Yeah.
That's what I think of Pokemon looking like. I think did Bandai Namco also work on Pokken, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, they must have because they make Tekken. So yeah, Pokken. So, this is like, I'm really happy Bandai Namco's working on this one. I wish Game Freaks would pull them into the mainline series. Because we get a mainline series that look like this, like, yeah, that would be amazing. So
I imagine it's probably a little bit easier to have better graphics when the game is like on rails. You know what I mean? It's not like super exploration based. It's like, it's a little less that you have to control, but still, yeah, they should definitely be bringing some of the team over.
And also in this Pokemon Presents, the one that happened on June 17th, that is, there were a few other announcements that we can go over quickly here, but Pokemon Cafe Mix, a free-to-start sort of mobile game, but it's also coming to the Switch. And then Pokemon Smile,
Let's go!
Game of the year. game of the year.
Toothbrushing app. And I'm going to be honest with you, I might try this out because my kid is not very good at brushing his teeth. And
I hear it works on kids.
Yeah, that's what it's
really
for,
well.
right? I mean, like to encourage kids to properly brush their teeth and market Pokemon. So those happened. Some updates to Pokemon Go. I don't know. Some mention of the DLC. Any of that worth talking about to y'all?
It was like mega evolutions, but they didn't show any or explain how it's going to work. So there's not a ton to like dig our teeth into on it. You know, that's what it is, but not much to say about it. At least not, I don't have anything really to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, Pokemon teeth looks ridiculous. I mean, it's not the Pokemon sleep that we were expecting, but it's another kind of quality of life sort of thing. So maybe, I mean, you have on here that, you know, obviously there's going to be another Pokemon Presents the day that this podcast comes out. So we haven't seen that yet. But maybe we'll get some information on Pokemon Sleep there. Maybe we'll get Pokemon Teeth 2 or Pokemon Smile or whatever.
Pokemon Smile 2. Is that
so Pokemon Mouth.
Obviously, this happens to us every once in a while, but this is going to happen. Our listeners will know what happens in this second Pokemon Presents. It's weird that they did a Pokemon Presents and then they're doing another one a week later. But so that we can be instantly proven right or wrong when this comes out. Anyone want to make a shot at what this is going to entail?
I'll take a stab at it. It's probably the only thing I think that might legitimately happen here. I could make a bunch of wild guesses, but I think what actually it probably is, probably the reason they split it up, is probably Tencent, which is a Chinese company that's supposedly made some deal with Game Freak to kind of push Pokemon, I think in the Chinese market and stuff like that. I think we're probably going to see whatever that venture is. So I don't know if it's going to be some exciting game that they're making. I think they have control of League of Legends, so I don't know if
they own a part of Riot. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know if it's going to be, you know, something really cool like that, or if it's just going to be a bunch of like business talk and they separated it because the first one was like, here's the games, and then the second one's going to be like, you know, here's more business side of things, or if it's going to be something really exciting. I don't know, but I think it's going to be that. Regardless, I think that's probably what it's going to be. I
do know that Nintendo Australia tweeted that people should be watching the Pokemon Presents, Pokemon Presents, or whatever tomorrow. So I wouldn't rule out another Switch thing, but I'm not. I mean, a lot of people are being like, "Hey, we'll get Let's Go Johto or whatever," and we might see that, but I think I would be more likely to expect some more mobile stuff.
Yeah, it's like there's like the possibility of like Diamond and Pearl remake or something like that, but I think it's probably going to be whatever that Tencent Game Freak thing is, which may even be a Switch title or something. You know, maybe more targeted towards whatever the Chinese demographic audience wants from Pokemon or something. But
which is gacha style games.
whatever it is, exactly.
Well, the listener out there knows, so I'm sure we were all 100% right. But next piece of news here we want to go over is that Nintendo's their share price has been doing super well, and we've talked about this a while back that it had hit a pretty big high point. It hit another high point, likely due to the Pokemon Presents showcase and the Pokemon Snap announcement. So it hit another 10-year high, it sounds like. So Nintendo is killing it right now with Animal Crossing and doing super great. And then sort of in related kind of news, Bloomberg did a really big article on this about how Nintendo is kind of moving away from mobile games. There was a quote from Furukawa that I don't think I saw that was out of the last like investors meeting, where they talked about how they're not really looking to continue releasing many new applications for the mobile market. And then there's some analysts in this article that talk about, Nintendo might put out a few more games here and there, but they're kind of, because they've been doing so well with Animal Crossing and stuff, and the Switch in general, not going to put as much effort there, which I say great. Huzzah. The very little of those games I've touched, which is very little, it's not been great to me. Does anybody agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think the timing is pretty weird, mostly because like Nintendo announced their big foray into mobile gaming at Apple conference, 2016 or 2017. and
with Mario Run.
Yeah, with Mario Run, and like, you know, the Apple conference WWDC was within the past couple of days. And this came out before that.
They gave it a 3-year shot or whatever.
They gave it some time. You know, it was weird to see, you know, Nintendo on the stage of Apple during a conference. That's like a weird thing that I remember seeing as so surreal, blending of I like consumer electronics and gadgets, but I also love Nintendo. So I think if I'm speculating, it is perfectly timed before that announcement, and to say that we'll probably see less games.
I know, at least for me, it kind of seems like their whole venture into mobile gaming was just to please shareholders, honestly. Like, I think the Wii U was kind of tanking and not selling well and was already their worst performing system, you know, back when they said all right, we'll do what we said we'd never do, and we'll make some mobile games. Right. And I think that, it was necessary at the time because a lot of people were really asking them for it. It's what are you going to do about this failing console? And now that they're kind of back on top with another, you know, system that can't stay on store shelves long enough, they don't really see much of a reason for it. And I think they gave it the good college try. You know, it's I think their best performing game is Fire Emblem Heroes, and then Dragalia Lost. So it's and those are still when you compare to a lot of these other mega hit mobile games, are nowhere in the same ballpark. So I think they're going to be sticking to what they're good at. And this kind of proves, if anything, that even with kind of the ebbs and flows that Nintendo tends to go through with their history, there'll always be a market for Nintendo hardware and software.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that assessment. I think you're right. I think Nintendo, 3 years ago or so, was probably backed into a corner a little bit. I know the Pokemon company has said stuff about how, when Pokemon Go came out, they really didn't think the Switch was going to do good, and they weren't going to really push Pokemon too hard on the Switch because they thought mobile games where things are going. Nintendo might have had the same sort of idea, especially with how the Wii U was doing and everything. Right. But now, seeing as the Switch is, like you said, selling like hotcakes right now, I don't think Nintendo really needs to back away from the console market for the time being anyway. Yeah. So they have no reason to really push, mobile anymore. So and personally, as a longtime Nintendo fan, more a fan of their consoles and everything like that than seeing them on mobile. I'm happy to hear it. So
the only thing I hope we get to keep is all the weird Dr. Mario characters. Don't let Dr. Dolphin die.
Well, maybe they'll make a Dr. Mario party or something, and all the doctors can hang out and play board games.
They do have the Mario Kart that's mobile, and I know we got some looks at the new Paper Mario, and they have, I think, some screenshots of Luigi in a Mario Kart. So I had somebody asking me do you think Paper Mario characters will come to Mario Kart? Because that's something that hasn't happened with Mario Kart yet. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe for the mobile game, because they keep releasing characters for that. So I thought that was a pretty good guess that I hadn't heard.
Yeah, those mobile games, they like to add a lot of characters. So yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. This next piece of news is half for David and half for Matthew. Xenoblade is having a crossover with Tetris 99. There is another Tetris Maximus Cup happening July 4th weekend. So is this going to get you to play some Tetris 99, Matt?
No. No.
Oh, come on. You got to boot it up. It's free.
What?
You're going to be too busy playing Xenoblade.
I am too busy playing Xenoblade. I'm 45, 60 hours in. And Last of Us 2 came out, and I haven't played that at all.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. A spoiler for what we've been playing this week. But, Tetris 99 is the game that won't die for me. It's if I'm ever just sitting there and I don't know, I'm just I got a couple minutes to spare, or I'm listening to a podcast or a YouTube video or something. I just want something to do with my hands. I just pop on Tetris 99. I've played all the Maximus Cups, so I'm happy to have this one. And I'm just excited to play Tetris to some great Xenoblade.
Yeah, there you go.
The music's amazing.
That music is so fucking good.
So good.
And then we're going to move away a little bit from Nintendo and talk about some other game companies and stuff. So the next few things are this sort of summer of gaming, weird non-E3 stuff that we have had going on. E3 likes, as we like to call them. EA Play had their event. So some big things for the Switch in particular. And then if there's anything else you want to talk about, please jump in. But they announced that Apex Legends is coming to the Switch. Matt, you played a bit of Apex Legends. Would you consider going back, or are you done with that game?
I still play Apex Legends.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. My friends that are PC gamers, they'll hit me up and play Apex. It's super fun. Now that there are multiple maps and brand new characters, and there's some lore to the characters, it's a really fun, engaging community and pretty competitive too. I would love to play once it's on Switch. I'd play on Switch because it's cross-platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, cool.
So,
and part of it, they have gyro controls.
Well, yeah, so that makes it a little bit more on par with
I fucking
keyboard.
love gyro controls, man. Any game that adds in gyro controls has my respect, because it's like, and I don't know why there aren't games on PlayStation with gyro controls. Their controller can do it as well. I guess it's like a weird Nintendo stigma, but it makes the aiming so much more precise. I'm so much better at that than twin sticks.
Pokemon Snap, right? Like, probably gonna have the gyro controls.
It better have gyro controls. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of I mean, obviously, I'll play that game anyway. It's not a deal breaker, but that game better have gyro controls.
And they indicated, again, Switch-centric here, that there are 7 Switch games coming, and that includes Apex Legends, I believe, as well as the Burnout Paradise.
That's correct.
Game, and maybe also the other one that we're about to talk about, but they include that there's going to be 7 games coming to the Switch over the next while, including some new titles. And then another game they announced for the Switch is Lost in Random. It's coming out on other platforms as well, but that looked like an interesting trailer. I don't know if y'all watched that. Like a dice,
I did.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought the game looked cool. I thought the guys who made the game had really weird hair, but other than that, I think that the game looks pretty good. It's got that kind of Tim Burton style.
I judge my games based on the developer's hair.
Yeah, exactly. Bandai Namco, great hair. That's why Pokemon Snap looks so good. But Jeff Grubb from VentureBeat actually put out an article where basically he listed out what the 7 games from EA are going to be that are coming to the Switch. Because we actually know about most of them, and then a couple others were like insider info that he got. So obviously we have Burnout Paradise, which is already on the Switch, albeit for $50, which is way too expensive. FIFA 21 is coming. Apex Legends, obviously, that game Lost in Random you were talking about. There's an as of yet unannounced game from Velan Studios, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. And then Need for Speed Hot Pursuit should be coming to the Switch, along with a Plants vs. Zombies game as well.
We talk
very
about,
surprised to not see The Sims on
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, we talk about it all the time,
Yeah.
but why they haven't put The Sims on the Switch, I don't know. That's kind
Doesn't
of
make any sense.
a bummer to actually hear that list. Thanks, Jeff Croft. but keeps our expectations in check, I guess. And then
and that's just for this year. I'm sure we'll be seeing more next year, especially if these games do well. But I'm just glad that EA is not like allergic to the Switch anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
And then a couple of big announcements they had. Obviously, the Star Wars Squadrons game, they showed that off. They showed some gameplay and cutscenes and stuff. And that game looks pretty cool, especially if you're into that kind of, flight. Dogfighting. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you very much. But it looks really cool. Does that interest any of y'all? Are y'all into?
Oh yeah.
You into?
Yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan, so yeah, it looks cool to me. I'm definitely excited about that one. I want to see more of it, and everything. But I always like Star Wars games, so I imagine that one looks pretty cool.
Looks cool.
EA's on their Star Wars apology tour right now, finally putting out some good games.
Yeah, and it looks like you get to play as both like the Rebels and as the Empire, and like. I don't know if the story for the single player element, if there's a story that kind of crosses over there, it seems like there's some potential there. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know they showed some picture of like they had like the Rebel like fighters and the Imperial fighters, and the Rebels had like some alien guys and stuff on their team, and so it looks pretty interesting. They might have some characters and backstory to those guys or something.
Yeah,
seems cool.
And then they ended with an announcement of a new skate game, which sounds like it's very early in development, so don't get too excited. But it sounds like they're working on a new skate game. Are y'all into that?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting it. Like, because it's been a meme for so long of people like making skate references, and like we've joked about it like over the past year. Oh, we want a new skate. Like now that we got a new skate, I asked myself, do I want to skate?
Yeah.
I'm excited for all the skate fans out there. It's been like 10 years since Skate 3. And it's like, this is something, it's always nice to see something that the internet wills into existence.
Yeah.
It was like this and the Sonic redesign, you know, and I feel like only existed because fans complained a bunch. So, you know, good for them. I'm happy for skate fans.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Could be a monkey paw situation.
yeah, potentially.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, they acknowledged that it was because of the fan demand and all that. So that's kind of cool.
I love that this year has. I mean, we got the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remakes. I'm more of a Tony Hawk like skateboarding video game guy, but I like skate as well. So I don't know if I'm going to be like skateboarded out. I used to skateboard when I was younger. I actually pulled my skateboard out when the Tony Hawk game got announced and was like outside doing a little bit. But I couldn't do much to begin with. I can do less these days.
And
It's a young man's activity.
It is, yeah. The risk of breaking bones only increases. Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm also thinking like, well, I'm working from home now, so if I did break something, it's like now's the time to do it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then just the day that we're recording this, there was a New Game Plus Expo, which a bunch of developers, in particular Japanese developers, came together to kind of have another E3-like, where several things were announced, and Switch-specific stuff as well out of this. And I'll have to admit that I did not watch all of this, but I kind of glanced over some of it while I was working, and then read some stuff about it. So if I missed something, y'all fill it in. But they showed off a little bit of No More Heroes 3, sort of. Suda51 like opened the show, and Suda himself was like talking about people being stuck at home in the middle of the screen over some gameplay and not acknowledging it. So that happened.
Total Suda move.
Yeah. And then we were talking about this before the podcast. I still don't know how to pronounce this. A new Ys game was announced.
You nailed it.
Did I nail it? Ys.
Yeah.
Yeast.
Or not yeast.
Yeast.
It's not like
yeast. A new yeast game.
yeah, a new yeast game. Just in time for the banana bread pandemic activities. Yeast game.
Yeast 9 Monstrum Nox is the name of it, and I believe that is coming to the Switch as well as other consoles and stuff too.
Yeah. The East games are really popular. I haven't played any of them myself, but I know they've had a lot of really great success on the Switch, as have a lot of other JRPGs. It's just a great system to play JRPGs on. So, yeah, if you're an East fan, there you go.
And then in some sad news, I guess we'd call it, Cyberpunk 2077 was delayed again to November 19th this time. It had been delayed until September, I believe, and then now it just got kicked out again. So I guess it's going to kind of theoretically coincide with the next gen launch of Xbox and PlayStation, a little bit closer to that. How are we feeling about this? We okay with this?
I'm a little sad that it got delayed. However, my birthday is November 19th, so I couldn't get that mad at it. I was like, oh, okay, cool date, though. Like,
you're going to get like 20 copies of that game for your birthday. Yeah,
So,
whatever they need to do. I mean, clearly the game is like very expansive and has lots of side stories and a huge open world. So I'm sure there's a whole ton of bugs and possibilities for bugs that goes along with that. So I think it's respectable that, you know, we've waited like 7 years for this game. So like a couple more months isn't the end of the world.
that's what you said last time.
Yeah, that is truly what I said last time.
And then this was a big one. Microsoft announced that it is shutting down Mixer and integrating it sort of over into Facebook gaming. It's not like Facebook gaming is going to become Mixer or anything like that, but they're moving people over there or helping them move over there. And I know, Matt, you were kind of ready to talk about this one at the top. Was there some things you wanted to say in particular about this?
Yeah, it's just surprising. You know, just like the speculation is weird because it was sudden, and like the talent that they essentially bought, you know, Ninja, which they got Ninja to be exclusively on Mixer for 60 million, and Shroud was like, you know, 20, 30 million.
Wait, was it 60 million?
Yeah.
Really?
It was something
I thought
ridiculous.
it was 10 million. Holy fuck.
Let's see. According to a Bing.com/news article.
Hey, Microsoft owns Bing, so it's got to be accurate.
Yeah, they'll be beefing up the numbers to make them sense.
I'm not sure the exact dollar amount, but it was lots of millions of dollars, and talent wasn't notified that this was happening. happening. So essentially, they're getting all this money that it's a smart move if you're Ninja or Shroud or any talent that moved to Mixer. You get to take that money, and you get to choose where you want to go.
Go back.
They're released from the
contract.
contract.
To Twitch.
And there's some discussion in the article about this being tied to or being somewhat related to xCloud, and Microsoft working with Facebook to bring xCloud to Facebook gaming. And that's why they picked Facebook, I guess, rather than helping out Twitch or something. I don't really know a lot about that, but if you're listening and you have some insight into that, love to hear it.
It's just crazy how all these like gaming streaming sites are all like the big media giants. I just kind of realized it's like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Facebook. Yeah, right. Like all running all these social gaming. It's weird. But I know like Twitch saw like almost 100% increase from like 2018 or 2019 to 2020. And I think that Mixer saw like a 0.02 increase or something like that. Wow. So yeah, it was time to throw in the towel for sure.
It is weird because, Mixer, which had the better experience, it was the more succinct UI platform, but it was always branded as not Twitch. Which is a really weird kind of marketing pseudo community aspect to take on. It's like, we're not Twitch, or we don't have quite the some of the shady stuff that the Twitch community brings up.
Mixer does what Twitch don't.
That's exactly.
Yeah, I didn't see them market it very well. Definitely agree with that. They pulled over talent, but I didn't see them really put it out with like, this is why you should watch Mixer. I didn't see any of that. So
totally, because
I don't think they knew why. I think they just wanted to be in on the streaming, and we're just like, if we buy these guys, people will watch it, and didn't really put anything into marketing it. But I think you have to.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
And then moving on, unless there's something else about Mixer, this was kind of an interesting way that this all rolled out, and can kind of segue us into the next segue into our discussion with you, PapaGenos. But there was a puzzle that was sent out to video game news outlets for Crash Bandicoot with like a image of a mask on it. And then there were some leaks that started happening around Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. And then they finally announced it. And they've revealed that it's coming out on October 2nd for PS4 and Xbox. Sadly, not for the Switch. As I think Ryan in our Discord said, maybe about in a year and a half we can play the port on the Switch.
Probably.
But this was just an interesting way this all happened. Like, I think last week, maybe it was, we talked about there was a leak of Crash merchandise out there. And then that this happened. Do you guys think that this is one of those leaks that makes me raise my eyebrows and be like, was this a controlled leak, or was this information given out because it got leaked so quick? You know what I mean? The speed at which all these things happened didn't allow for a lot of like marinating with that puzzle. I don't know. What do y'all think? Or any thoughts about the game? Are you excited about a new Crash game? Does it look good?
Well, first of all, yes, Crash About Time looks great. It looks like it's a return to form. I like that it's Crash 4, even though there have been Crash Bandicoot games in between 3 and this one. They're just like going back to basics, right? Like, I think they're doing a good job. And secondly, when it comes to the leak stuff, it definitely, like, I'm of two minds about it, because it makes sense that it was a bit of a controlled leak, because it was right in that time where you would want hype to be building up for then there to be an eventual release of information, right? It got people talking about it, and then everybody saw it and they were like, yay, look, the leaks were right. But at the same time, that's also the time when all the promotional material is going to be going out there. Everybody's prepping for this video that they're putting up. So like, if something was going to leak, that would also be a time when it would happen, because more eyes are on that information at that point. Totally. So I think it could be either way. It's kind of the same result.
Yeah, I'd agree with that on your assessment of what's going on with like the potential of it being a controlled leak. It may even be one of those like where we don't really mind if it leaks. Like, they're not intentionally leaking it, but like, here's a bunch of stuff. Don't do anything with it, and it's like, okay, well, it leaked.
It would be a shame if this popped up on the internet.
It would be really bad if you built a bunch of hype up this week because all this stuff we just sent you. So, it definitely feels a little bit like it was kind of destined to at least be in what people were going to be talking about for a week here before we actually saw it officially. So
that's a good point.
But the game itself looks great. I definitely think it looks awesome. Like I said, return to form, which is really exciting. Even the game itself, supposedly, like the summary I read, sounds like it's about like Crash is in 1998 and there's like time travel and stuff. So they're actually like calling back to the old Crash, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I like old school platformer type stuff like that. So very excited.
The video was fun how they revealed it too with the Crash mascot wearing a mask at Jeff Keighley's house, like on the front porch. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, the Crash mascot is classic. Absolutely classic. I don't like to pull everything back to Smash, but the best reveal for Crash for Smash, if that happened, would be that mascot yelling at Nintendo. Yeah. And then like Sakurai comes out and is like, here's the invite. Like, Mario, here you go.
Yeah, if Crash is in Smash, I hope one of his costume alts is the mascot costume.
It's photorealistic. Like,
they hired that guy with the megaphone. Yeah.
You can see like his face in his teeth or whatever. Like,
that's so funny.
Well, since you brought it back to Smash, we can then go into our last news item before we move on, and that's a big one. So I'm sure we'll talk about this for a minute. But ARMS Fighter got announced on the 22nd. They did a Sakurai Presents style video from his home, and they told us in advance there would be no further fighter reveal, which was, I guess, nice to be told that in advance. And then he gave us all the info on Min Min coming to Smash. You probably already know this if you're out there listening, but so yeah, I think it's always interesting that he offers the date that he records these things because, you know, they're usually a month or two in advance. So I always find that fascinating. This one was recorded on May 2nd, and he showed off a little bit of his house, and we got to talk about those TVs. What did y'all think?
He's got a very clean gaming setup.
Yeah, a lot of systems too. He had like almost every system it looked like lined up underneath those TVs.
Yeah. He had a PS4 and a PS4 Pro.
Nice. You really analyzed it there. Great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Kotaku put out a whole article about his living room, about his items.
Of course, fucking Kotaku did.
It's so great, but they also talk about his like leather recliner that he bought, and I guess it's from like a standard department store in Japan called Nitori, and it's like he's humble. It's less than or just over $1,000 US dollars. That makes him approachable. He's just like us.
Those TVs, though, I don't know if those make him approachable as much. Those things are massive, and he has two, so he can watch shows or have like LAN parties, right? Like, isn't that what he said? Or so that like multiple people can be on games. Yeah, if
he has friends over, they can like game on their own television, like each or whatever. So that's cool.
So lit. But yeah, let's talk about Min Min.
Yeah, let's talk about Min Min.
Sakurai's house.
It was a big part of it.
It was nice.
But Min Min, yes. So Min Min is the ARMS fighter. So as anybody who listens to this podcast knows, I love ARMS. I actually was addicted to ARMS for a while. It was my fighting game before the Smash Ultimate came out. And I'm not disappointed that it is Min Min. She's not my favorite character in the game. Clearly, she's a fan favorite and a favorite.
She's a good pick.
A favorite of God. What's the name of the developer of ARMS? The guy who does Mario Kart 2.
Yasuki.
Yeah.
Am I right? I think.
And anyway, so he's the one that said it should be Min Min, right? So Sakurai said, "Why is it Min Min?" It's because he wanted it to be Min Min. But yeah, let's talk about it. Min Min is a fighter first. What do y'all think? The really unique mechanics. They really nailed ARMS. That's the thing I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think the being able to control kind of both arms at the same time is like what makes it like ARMS.
Yes.
Right? Like that was kind of the whole point of that game.
Yeah.
So it's cool that he was able to kind of bring that over. He's always got some way of making it feel like the game that they're from, right?
Yes.
So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed it's not more characters. You know what I mean? Like there have been a lot of speculation that it might be a Bowser Jr. sort of situation, but I think that was just something that somebody came up with and everybody was like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As somebody who played a lot of ARMS, and you played some too, David, I know, that wouldn't have worked very well, or it would have taken away from what's unique about a lot of people, I feel like, in the game.
Sure. Yeah.
What I was hoping for if we did get like a multi-character situation was honestly echoes, like an echo fighter. So you could do like the differences as long as you got characters that were close enough to each other, to build a base off of. So I was hoping that maybe they do something like that, because this is also the first character in the past. So I was thinking, if they introduce this character and there's you buy Mii costumes separately from the past, and the character in the past is Min Min, but we have an Echo for Ribbon Girl and Springman. If you want to buy those separately, you can.
Yeah. We need more Echoes in general.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a really underutilized thing. So I never really thought a Bowser Jr. situation would work with alts, but I did think a multi-character situation could work if they did something like Echoes or something else. But I'm totally cool with Min Min. She's a cool character. I think she represents all ARMS well enough, but is also unique enough to be a little bit more than just like Springman with just what's his gimmick. It's ARMS. It's Min Min brings a little bit more to the table. So yeah, I think she's a good choice.
And
definitely.
In ARMS, her having that kick reflectability makes a lot of sense to pick her for that reason too, right? Because they can turn her into being a kicking monster like she is in Smash Ultimate. It looks like all sorts. She's got like a Chun-Li kick. I don't know if y'all saw that one. So I'm excited. What do y'all think about viability? Like, do you think because he is pointed out, took a lot of time in the video to explain that she has clear strengths and weaknesses and may not be very good in 1v1s. Do you think that some pro will prove him wrong, or do you think it's just going to be more like party time Smash for Min Min?
That's always hard to say until we get our hands on her. Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know. She seems like weird and kind of hard to control. Like a lot of these characters have seemed that way before I get my hands on them, and then I actually get my hands on them and it's not that bad. But I do feel like all the DLC characters are kind of like, they're like, maybe they know that the people that are buying the DLC are people that have been playing Smash for longer, so they can handle more like unique mechanics. But it's like they've all had something kind of weird. Like, like Hero is really complicated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to use. And even Banjo is got like a lot of stuff that kind of nerfs them, Banjo and Kazooie, if you use one of their moves too much. So it's like it definitely seems like it's kind of expert mode character, but it seems like a lot of fun. I like that she can kind of cover like the whole stage by punching in both directions. But yeah, I mean it seems like she's not that great in the air, and that fighting against people in the air is hard. So I think it all comes down to matchups with her, probably.
Yeah. Well, you make a good point too, that like she does seem to fit party mode better, but maybe harder for a casual who knows the basic buttons to approach, right? Like you can't play her the same way. And I guess we should mention, because I didn't say this because I was too excited to talk about Sakurai's house, that Min Min is releasing on the 29th. So that's why we don't know how she plays, because we won't know until next episode, actually. So we got a week to wait after they showed this off. And then, unless there's something else y'all want to talk about Min Min as a fighter, maybe we can talk about the stage and the music a little bit. So they picked...
I just want to say before we move on, I'm really happy to see a woman fighter in the fighters passes. Yeah, it's like there have needed to be more female fighters in the game anyway, and I'm glad they're kicking this one off. I mean, that having been said, all the best ARMS characters are female anyway, so I never thought it was going to be a dude from ARMS, but I'm glad to see some more female representation in the game.
Totally.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. The first pass we had like Kazooie and sort of Byleth. Byleth has a female alt and everything, but we didn't get just like a female character. So yeah, happy to see this pass start right off with a female DLC character.
Mm-hmm.
Then, so they gave us Springman's stage though, which makes some sense because Min Min's stage in ARMS is a big ramen bowl. I guess we also didn't talk about the Captain Falcon Kirby trailer thing. We should mention that.
It was nice.
They did a reveal of her, and if you know ARMS, you instantly knew it was Min Min because they were eating ramen. They showed Captain Falcon and Kirby eating ramen. It was a nice little anime style trailer. But yeah, so it clearly couldn't have been her stage, or they would have had to do a weird 2D slice of it or something to have that, and it wouldn't have worked. So they gave us Springman's stage, but not exactly, because it has these two platforms on the side that are like springs instead of a spring all the way around, which I guess makes sense because it's 2D again. It's just kind of weird to translate a 3D fighting game into 2D.
It looks good though.
Yeah, it does look cool. I mean, I'm excited to try it out because it looks normal enough, right? And I don't know if maybe if you turn hazards off, if we'll still have those springs or not. What do y'all think?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I know isn't there something else at the top of the stage, like the way the the top of the stages, like there's parts you can hit.
Yeah.
I would hope that would go away, and potentially the springs go away on hazards off. Sakurai did mention that there's the little drones that bring in items when you have items on. So those are kind of cool, but obviously they'll go away. And I like just aesthetically, I really like that there's the big like television in the back showing off all the different ARMS characters. I thought that was cool. So it's good to have that there.
Yeah, like the Neo Geo characters that didn't make it into
right.
fighters.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when we're getting characters in the DLC that have brand new game series that aren't repped in Smash at all yet. ARMS, I guess, was with Spirits and stuff, but I like to see that if as much of that series, or in SNK's case, the whole company can get repped in the stage and stuff. That's great. Mm-hmm. And music tracks that you mentioned too, they did. I think it's almost every music track from ARMS, which is great. Yeah. So that's awesome.
That's a good soundtrack.
Yes.
I like the music from ARMS a lot. And they did a couple of remixes, which I was hoping there might be more, but I see why they didn't. And he said that it was a fighting game, so it fits the style, and we didn't need to. But I'm excited to hear those remixes because I really do love ARMS music.
ARMS is developed by the same team who did Mario Kart 8, which also has a bitchin' soundtrack. I think they just like get like that bombastic, like almost kind of jazzy, like rocky feel, you know what I mean? Yeah, I just wanted to gush on the ARMS soundtrack a little bit.
Honestly, for me, a lot of times I don't know, this might sound bad to say it, I kind of prefer when they don't do the remakes, the remixes
unless you
songs, because I
can't
like
get both
the classics. Yeah, I prefer both almost, because sometimes I like the remixes. Sometimes it's really cool to see that, and I totally appreciate the team taking the time to do that with songs. But a lot of times it's like, I really like the original. Like, I just put that in Smash. I'm cool with that. Like, totally cool with that. So
do you
ARMS,
use
like
your
awesome.
Switch as an MP3 player? Is that what you're saying?
I don't bring it around with me. That's something I would love to do, but honestly, the Switch is like, I don't want to get too much into this. It's a little off topic, but the Switch is portable. It's definitely a portable system. I don't really take it with me places. Yeah. It's more like a around the house portable system, which I totally appreciate, because if I can play a game in bed before I go to sleep, if I can like half watch television, half play a game, if I can like play a game and just like walk into the kitchen, set it down, cook something, pick it back up. Like, I think that portability is underrated, when most people are like, you can't fit it in your pocket, I can't take it out. I'm like,
you can lay
where
in
are you going?
bed.
It's around the house. It's just not being stuck on my couch is what I want the portability for.
Nice. Well, then, also, before we move on to our main topic, a couple more things about this Sakurai Presents Min Min presentation. The Mii costumes, we have to talk about those. There was a Ninjara Mii costume, giving ARMS a little more representation. There's a Heihachi costume, putting to rest likely any chance that Heihachi will be a future fighter. And then there was a Callie, Marie, and Marie. Yeah, there was a Callie and Marie amiibo costumes as well, or Mii costumes. I'm all over the place, y'all.
You're doing great.
David, you made a comment about this one that I loved. Can you share that with
Yeah.
the team?
So I was watching this. It was like early in the morning, and it showed Callie and Marie, and I go, "Oh, Callie and Marie." And then I realized as I was saying it that Callie and Marie are calamari. I like finally just got that. I've been playing Splatoon since it came out on the Wii U, and I just got the pun there. So hey, you know what? I'm not that smart.
Shout out.
Better late than never. Better late than never.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Shout out to Austin, friend of the podcast, Baby Snakes on our Discord, that said Pearl and Marina is a Pearl Harbor reference. I don't know. Maybe not.
Pearl Marina, yeah.
And then the final Mii costume that they announced was kind of out of left field. Vault Boy from the Fallout series.
So weird.
So weird, but also cool, right? How do we feel about that one? Excited about that one? I was wondering if there'd be like a Fallout song or something too,
I love Fallout. I'm a huge fan of Fallout. So I was absolutely floored that we got Vault Boy. Very cool. Very shocking. Something I did not think would ever be a part of Smash in any form. It was really cool. When they showed the like old style grainy footage, I was like, okay, what's this going to be? I was not expecting Fallout of all things. And on the note of this one being I don't know what we call these, whatever Sans and Cuphead, and this one is, I've been calling them deluxe Mii costumes. I've heard some people call them premium Mii costumes. I've heard people debating like, this one didn't come with music, so it doesn't count or something, but I really think it's more because Fallout has like ambient music. Like, how do you give that to the team to remix? Like, here you go. It's like distant flute playing. Like, yeah. So, I count this as among the Sans, Cuphead, now Vault Boy. So yeah, but I was super excited about that. I'm a big Fallout fan, so very cool to see that in Smash.
I got a little scared for you, Papa, during this.
Me too. Me too.
Whenever they showed Hey Hachi, I was like, "Uh-oh, here comes Gino." You know what I mean? I was like, surely Gino is going to be a me costume. It's going to be a deconfirm. But they didn't. They didn't. The hope still lives on.
Two things kind of freaked me out, and just for the record, I am totally cool with a Geno me costume. If it gets that like premium me costume upgrade, I would be totally cool with that. If we got like, a Mario RPG track with Geno, I'd be totally cool with that, for the record. But I still want him playable, still really playable. But when it was Hihachi, so we have another Smash 4 me getting back into Ultimate, and then even Vault Boy's like reveal trailer was like, it's grainy footage, and then Mario popped up. I'm like, okay, old Mario. Like, what else is old Mario? Like, Mario RPG's kind of old at this point. Like, so I got a little scared, and then it was Vault Boy, and I was like, sweet, cool.
And then quickly, maybe we can go over these last couple things. They did some modifications to the spirits. You can rematch spirits once you've already beaten them and acquired them, which is cool. And they also gave some hints about how to cheese some spirits in the game. I thought that was kind of funny. And then they showed off the first amiibo for the DLC characters, which I was starting to think there wouldn't be amiibo for the DLC characters because of rights issues and all that, maybe. But we now know that there likely is to be amiibos for all the DLC characters, because we got to see Joker and Hero. That was it. Do y'all have any thoughts on the amiibo or the spirits or anything else that we kind of quickly glossed over or missed on the ARMS presentation?
Not really. I mean, the spirit thing is good quality of life. And yeah, I'm glad to see that there are more amiibos, even though they said they would be limited.
Yeah. They're going to be like extra limited. They're already limited. So
yeah, it's already hard to find amiibos, but I will say ever since Ultimate, like I used to have to camp out like hours in advance to try to get, the small amount of stock that amiibos got. But ever since Ultimate, my stores get amiibos. They don't get very many, but they get the amiibos, and then I just show up. Nobody else is there. I buy them. There's like 3 left of each of them. I leave. I haven't had any issues. So if it's limited, I understand production right now is probably a little tough with everything happening in the world. So yeah, it's fine with me though. I haven't had any difficulty getting. I think the only one I had some difficulty getting was Isabelle. And I imagine it's probably because the Animal Crossing amiibos were kind of shelf warmers and almost maybe killed the whole amiibo thing. So I think they probably were like, another Animal Crossing one. Let's not print too many of this. That was the only one I think I had to order online. My local store didn't get it, but which is kind of weird too, because Animal Crossing, the New Horizon or whatever, like everybody wants to buy the cards now, which were hard to find. So it's like this weird resurgence of like Animal Crossing amiibos are worth nothing, and now everybody wants them. So it's really weird. Really weird.
What were you going to say, Matt?
Your boy is excited for Banjo-Kazooie amiibo.
Yeah,
pretty cool. That'll be nice.
Once that all comes out, because the ones that are out there right now are like custom made, and they just take the Duck Hunt dog and they paint it to look like Banjo and Kazooie.
Into it.
Cool. Well, with that, I think we'll take a real quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to do a nice interview with you, PapaGenos, about your channel. We're going to get into some more Smash speculation and leaks and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be right back. And we're back, and we are here with PapaGenos to talk all about being a YouTuber and talking about Smash and all the leaks and rumors about Smash Ultimate that you've been doing on your channel. First off, I think I have to say, I love your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
It's really great, and I'm gonna fan out on you for just a minute and say, go for it. And say, maybe
don't let me stop you.
We can talk about your YouTube channel up at the top a little bit, maybe, that you do a really good job of presenting the information and being passionate about it. And compared to a lot of other people on YouTube, and I'm not trying to be critical of them, I just prefer your style of delivery and your enthusiasm and positivity around it and that kind of stuff. So I just had to say that to you.
It's also nice when you're doing a YouTube channel that's about leaks and rumors, like being very distinct about what is a rumor and what is speculation.
Yes.
And like, you know what I mean? Because so often, so many of these like YouTubers like just throw everything out for clicks, you know what I mean? And it's like, you never really know if it's really news or not. But yeah, I definitely respect that you're like, take this with a grain of salt, you know what I mean? And then you go about what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very much so walking on eggshells, and I knew that going into it.
Yeah.
Like the name PapaGenos is my Smashboards username from, I think it's like 2006, 2007, something like that. It was for speculating about Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Right. And I've always jumped in that forum, to speculate Smash stuff ever since then, every time we had, Smash worth speculating. So when I made the channel, I was well aware of the Smash leak, rumor, speculation scene, and that it would be walking on eggshells to talk about this stuff. People get angry about certain things, that it's difficult to determine what's legit, what isn't legit, or what's even worth focusing on. Because I think that's really where the line comes in. It's like, it's okay if something doesn't end up being true, because these are rumors and things like that.
Right.
But, as long as you're clear about this is why this rumor is worth talking about, instead of some random person posted some random thing.
Yeah.
Here it is. It's exciting, but why would you ever look at it? You know what I mean? So as long as you have that, as long as you're like, this is why I'm looking at this, and make your own opinion. Here's my opinion. Here's make your own opinion. Here's my opinion.
I'm not liable for any hurt feelings or anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But this is why it's worth looking at. I'm going to explain why it's worth looking at. This is why I'm looking at it. Decide for yourself. I think going into all this, I was aware of that whole ball game because I had been doing it on, like I said, Smashboards for a long time, or at least watching people do it on Smashboards. So it's something I knew outright doing the YouTube channel. I think a lot of times, again, not to be rude to anybody else or anything like that, like you guys were saying, but I think other channels sometimes have maybe a little less experience with that, when they'll make their channel and they'll just see something and go, that sounds really exciting, or and they'll be like, I can make a video about this, and they put it out there or whatever without that whole prefacing exactly what's going on. I think that's so important when you're talking about this stuff.
Yeah, you do a really good job of explaining sort of why we're paying attention to what you're showing us. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe just for more context, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been doing this channel for about 2 years. Is that right?
Yeah, it's been about 2 years. It was actually after, it was right after Ultimate got revealed at E3 with like Ridley and Daisy and stuff like that. I think it was like a week or two after that. Maybe more than that, maybe almost a month. I was actually a little worried when I made the channel too, or not so much when I first made the channel. It was actually just to have this one theory about Mach Rider that I was talking about on Smashboards, and I made a Mach Rider like support thread, and I was like, it'd be cool if I had a video to go with it. So that's why I made the channel initially, was just this one specific thing. And then I was like, I could make some other things, so I made a few other ones, and then the channel just kind of snowballed from there. Mm-hmm. But I was a little worried when I was like, okay, this is actually kind of turning into something. I think I could be a Smash speculation channel. I don't see one that is taking the sort of speculation that I'm seeing on Smashboards, the caliber of that speculation, the quality of that speculation that I'm keeping up with. I don't see any other YouTubers really, following that way. So I was like, I think I can do that. But I was a little worried. I was like, maybe it's a little too late, because Ultimate already got announced. Like I have no reaction video to Ridley. Yeah. And I was sitting there like a month or so afterwards when the channel was just starting to get into steam. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to turn into anything, because I feel like I need to already be established. So if anybody's out there and thinking about making a YouTube channel and you're like, I don't know if this is the right time, or I don't think I have the right equipment. I had a bad camera in my room, and it was past when I thought was a good idea to do it. So yeah, just
go for it.
Just go out there and do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've been doing mostly Smash, and we talked about this kind of when Mario Maker 2 got announced, about how like for Mario Maker streamers, that was like a renewal of their contract. Were you super excited when the second Fighters Pass got announced similarly? Like,
yes. So, yes, I was. And the same thing. Feels like the channel got like a extension. Like basically I got a contract that's like December 2021, still relevant. And I was like, great. Like,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I have done
Yes.
some other things, and I do try to branch out. But I will be honest, when it was like, I think it was like August, September last year, like right before we heard, we were going to get that second Fighters Pass, I was kind of thinking like, okay, this might be the end of the channel, or I don't think I'll ever end the channel. Like, even if Smash ends, I've done other, I talk about Pokemon sometimes. I've talked about some other leaks and rumors and stuff that comes up. I'm a big fan of Zelda and Mario and all sorts of things. So I'll keep it going. And Smash is a great starting point for a lot of content too, because it's a big crossover. There's a lot of things I can talk about. I actually want to talk about, because Fault Boy just got in Smash. I actually play Fallout 76, guilty pleasure, something like that. I don't know if it's even a pleasure because it's Fallout 76, so I'm kind of like twisting my own arm playing it. The Wastelander update was okay though, but I actually might make a video soon about that and just be like, hey, Vault Boy got in Smash. I just want to show you guys my base. They call it camps in 76. Like, I'm just going to do a quick base tour. That was actually something I was going to film this afternoon. I might do it tomorrow now. So it's really cool that Smash has that ability to cross over into so many other things. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of fans who care about Smash, but a lot of people who watch my videos also like, the games where all those characters are coming from. So it's really easy to, do other content and not feel like, oh, I'm doing something weird that's outside of my channel's parameters. It's like, I think all this stuff kind of is. Yeah. So that's nice. That's been a nice.
The live streams seem to be doing well as well, and reactions and stuff like that. So there will always be Nintendo announcements, at least, that I'm sure you could cover.
Exactly. Yeah. There'll be Nintendo announcements. There'll be Nintendo leaks and rumors and speculation. Mm-hmm. Smash or no Smash. So I'll be around.
Sweet.
For that
you
cool.
totally should continue branching out and do that, because to fan out on you, I enjoy watching your videos and not just the Smash
Thank
stuff.
You.
So yeah. But let's talk about Smash next.
Yeah.
We just got Min announced, and we don't know when the next fighter is going to come. And in fact, something we didn't really talk about there at the end of the news section was that they said they're still planning to, give us at least, and this is maybe a translation thing. I just thought we have to mention this, at least the rest of the, fighters for this. I wonder if that meant maybe there won't be as many like quality of life updates like they've done with the Spirit stuff, or if it theoretically means they might do more fighters. Any thoughts on that comment, or like whether there'll be a delay on anything? Because they kind of hinted at, they didn't deconfirm any timeline that they've already given us, but they didn't like give us a clear outline for that, probably because they don't know.
Yeah, I think this is maybe something a little bit to do with translation, but also like Sakurai knows how crazy the Smash fans are. We've talked about this in previous episodes of how we speculate on one word. And right now, here we are talking about like
2 words.
What could 2 words mean in the span of like a whole business model for a fighting game? Yeah. And this is like, and like PapaGenos, you have a whole community around this kind of speculation about 2 words in like a 30-minute presentation. And Sakurai knows all this, and what they announced, like 6 in this Fighter Pass 2, there'll be 6 characters, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 6 total. So he's not promising on anything, but he's providing some sense of like, maybe, it's if Nintendo says so, or uses Smash as a service. And extends out the lifespan until the next Nintendo console.
I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, totally. Fingers crossed.
If there's any game for them to do that, Smash is definitely it. Like, this is it. This is the game they should continue. So
yeah,
I occasionally hear some people say they don't want that, but I would love there to be 100 fighters in this game. I think that would be amazing.
I don't see any reason to reboot Smash at this point. I don't quite understand that perspective. I think Ultimate's great, besides maybe updating the netcode. But like, if we were to port Ultimate to whatever Nintendo's next system is and it has a good online, I don't see any reason to start from scratch, rebuild all the characters, rebuild all the, like, we're there. Like, just continue this is, in my opinion, the better option.
Totally.
I think if they did do some sort of reboot, it would be like different. Right. I think that it would be like pared down. They would change up the formula considerably, because it's like, you're right. This is like the Smash formula, like distilled down to perfection at this point. Right. It's like every single game has been like building and building and building up to this point. So like there's really, and it is ultimate, right? It's like the ultimate form of that. So I think if they do something in the future, it'd be totally different. But I'm here for it. But yeah, I think that for the rest of the Switch's life, and maybe even on the next console, especially if it's like a Switch 2 where the games can move over, like this game will stick around for a very, very long time.
Yeah, it definitely has a long shelf life, and yeah, if they do a Smash after Ultimate, I feel it's got to be different. Like, you're not going to get people back with, we cut a bunch of characters, there's not all the stages, but look, here's a couple new ones, but you didn't get a lot of the old ones. It just feels so weird. You got to do like, we're down to just like 50 characters again, but there's like a one-player mode that's like really awesome and has tons of cutscenes and the characters interacting with each other, and it's like maybe it's only like the main characters from each game or something, but they're like, we're really representing everything. It's got to be something totally different.
Or they'll do like a Pokken tournament style, like a 3D brawler or something like that. Like just totally.
Yeah, or it's a totally different game.
If they told me that I had to do it, I think I would make it only Nintendo characters and add like 20 or something new Nintendo characters or something. You know what I mean? To like
just all the doctors.
Yeah, all the Dr. Dolphins and stuff from world.
Everybody wants.
Well, what about like so also one big thing that kind of happened with Min Min is that she was a spirit in the game, right? Prior to this. So what about the rest of this Fighters Pass? Do you think it's possible we'll see any more spirits be upgraded to fighters? They did make that comment about how they're going to adjust some spirits, probably Min Min, Cuphead got kind of subbed in instead of Mega Man and that kind of stuff. Depending on if you have the DLC. But do you think, what do we think about the rest of this Fighters Pass? Is there any credible leaks out there or any credible rumors or just hopes from anybody here that for the rest of this second Fighters Pass?
As far as like credible leaks and stuff, a lot of stuff is, up in the air kind of, I would say. But nothing solid as far as what's going forward. I do think after watching that reveal trailer for Min Min and everything going on with the Cuphead spirit getting upgraded and everything, and saying other ones are going to get upgraded going forward, I would be surprised if we don't get at least one more spirit upgraded. It really felt like that's basically what they were setting up for. So I do think, we'll get at least one more spirit upgraded most likely. And that might be, to like one of those premium deluxe, what do you want to call them, me costumes, and like Cuphead changed it. But I do think some spirit battles are going to change going forward, or he wouldn't have said that. Or he would have said, Min Min's a special case. This is the only time we're doing this, expectations, to set the expectations. But yeah, I think we're open for spirit upgrades. So I expect at least one. Besides that, I mean, I can take a guess at a few other things. I think a Pokemon rep's likely. I think a second Namco rep is likely, but we just got Heihachi out of the way. We sort of had this leak going from Vergiben about Heihachi guest appearing in something. I don't know if Smash was that something or not, but technically it does fit. I mean, it's a me costume, but it does fit. I mean, if the rumor came from like Namco water cooler talk, like they're licensing out Heihachi for something, I don't know what that something is. They're being secretive about it. It could be a me costume in Smash. Like, there you go. That's it. And then on that note about the at least 5 characters, I was actually talking to Push Dustin on my Discord. I don't know if you guys know who Push Dustin is from Source Gaming and everything. Speaks Japanese, so this is what he had to say. He said, I've listened to the Japanese. He's saying, at the very least, you are going to still get your characters and reveal trailers. No idea on me costumes, extra production for the characters, etc. So from Push Dustin's perspective, it sounds like, and I think this makes sense in the context of the whole coronavirus thing and everything going on. I think he's just assuring us the pass will finish out, at least the characters. As far as extra stuff, who knows? He said before, Sakurai said before about, I forget what the addition was, but I think it was Home Run Contest. Like, this is pretty much the last mode. But then he just added that spirit thing where we can battle spirits. So, like, is break the targets, board the platforms, boss rush, are these things that might be in the works? It's possible. Talking
about 2 words too, he said pretty much, or I guess the translation, right, was like, I was like focused on that too. He said pretty much. Like, what? Pretty much. Some clear words.
And even the at least, I mean, like, I'm looking at it more from like the we're going to do this pass, don't worry about it perspective. But I think there is a valid, legitimate other perspective, which is there could be a pass after this one.
Yeah.
I don't want to bank on that. I'm not going to bank on that. I'm just going to pretend, this pass is the end and that's it. But I really think Sakurai is not putting any definitive talk here, about this one ending or anything. So.
He's an interesting guy, right? It's like, like he posted on Twitter recently, or he did an interview where he was saying like he doesn't talk about like the games he's playing because he's really worried that too many people are going to look in on what he's saying and then harass him on Twitter about it. And then he's always saying like, this is going to be the last game that I'm working on or blah, blah, blah. And then he always comes back for another one. It's like he knows that he shouldn't be making Smash anymore, but he can never commit to it. Like it's just in his blood, like he's just such an interesting guy. He's somebody that I would love to meet and like have a conversation with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see his living room? Like, I think the thing with Sakurai that sets him apart from a lot of, other game. I mean, I'm sure other, game designers and stuff are gamers at heart, but Sakurai is like, maybe even beyond that. I mean, even the idea of Smash to put all these Nintendo characters in one game is something that somehow, like, from a gamer perspective, is like obvious. Like, yeah, Nintendo, like put all your stuff in like Mario Kart.
For sure.
Make it Nintendo Kart. Smash, make it, like that's what people want. But somehow that just goes over their heads like every time that like that's a good idea, I guess. But Sakurai is like, I think he as a gamer is like, yeah, of course you put everything together. Like everybody's gonna love that.
And that's why all these new characters in Smash are so great too. Like you were saying, David, which is true for even characters that have been in it for a while, like Sonic or something. It feels like you're playing that game. Like they aren't just taking this character that they know is popular and then slapping them in there and they play the same.
Yeah, giving them a punch and a kick or something.
They feels like you're playing these games. And I mean, you're in not 100%, but like they do a really good job at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about the move sets for the DLC characters being more, I don't know if it's gimmicky or a little higher learning curve, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, Hero having a literal RPG menu of attacks, Min Min being able to attack with either arm, with two different buttons. Like, yeah, Sakurai definitely puts a lot of thought and care into making the characters, feel like their games and everything really represent those games. So that's always a cool thing about Smash. So when you're playing it, it really actually makes you nostalgic. For those game series that you've played that are now all together in one.
I think that like thought and care is why we like Sakurai so much. Yeah. Is that where we're talking about his living room, and like his controlled speech is because he really does like it comes off as he cares about the community. He doesn't want to provide false hope to some speculation, but he also wants to have fun with the things that he's into, whether it be like he really loves Hero and really loves Dragon Quest and that entire series. And you could hear him talking about that. And especially when he talked about Terry and SNK and his history with the SNK franchises, I think that level of like personality is why we, maybe why you have a community or why we all have a Nintendo community, because we're all like these characters because they all like what they do and we all can all share in this industry. And it's like really cool to talk about.
The man just loves binary.
So no, but seriously, like Sakurai just got sent all that equipment from Nintendo. I'm sitting here thinking like, I love these Sakurai Presents. Like, become a YouTuber, become a streamer, Sakurai. Like everyone would watch you. Like just do it.
He should be like an educational video game streamer. Like teach us about, or you know what I mean? Like when about the history of games, how to make games, something. He's got so many angles there.
Right.
He's funny too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When Ultimate's actually done, like Sakurai take out, that recording equipment and just start telling us about the history of games like he did with SNK, because that I would watch that. Everybody would watch that.
Well, bringing it back to the sort of current Fighters Pass speculation and all that, I do want to ask you about like Geno getting into Smash. That's obviously the name of your channel, and clearly you're a big fan of Geno from Super Mario RPG. Do you like objectively, or if as objective as you can be, do you think it, with their having not given out that Mii costume, do you think it's a pretty good chance?
It is so hard to say with Geno objectively because I'm such a fan. It really is. Like it's really hard to think about it without my own bias and everything like that. Sometimes I actually feel like I undermine it even more than actually boost him up. Like I find it really hard to be like, yeah, everything's lining up for him, because it's like I'll talk about all this stuff because I'm always paying attention to it, but it's really hard for me to actually internalize like that's a reality that could happen. But to be honest, right now, I actually think Geno is sitting really well. Probably better than he has since base game. I mean, we just got spirits confirmed can be fighters. Min confirmed spirits can be fighters. Geno's a spirit in the game. We got a bunch of Mii costumes back. We did not get the Geno Mii costume back. I think Geno is sitting in a good position. Not, far from guaranteed, not a definite thing at all. But a character we could get before this pass is over. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, whenever I saw Ridley confirmed, it was like, I feel like Geno was on the table at that point. I feel like Ridley and like Geno and Banjo were some of the three that were most talked about, right? Like in the poll that they did. And so, and it's such a niche character. It's not like everyone in the world knows who it is, but clearly he's shown at this point that he's doing this for the fans and he's listening to the fans. So yeah, I'm holding out for Geno, but, I'm also ready to be disappointed. I've also been holding out for Mother 3, so.
Yeah. I'm bracing myself for like disappointment. I mean, look, I'm a Geno fan. I wanted Geno in Smash. I've wanted Geno back with Nintendo basically since I played Mario RPG and assumed, well, this guy's coming to Mario Kart 64, and he didn't. Right. I basically thought Geno, Mallow, these are staple Mario characters. Not yet. Okay. Where is he? Like, shows up once, I think, in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Right. Tiny cameo. I think that's all we've ever gotten. But yeah, he's come in Smash a little bit. Smash 4, we got the Geno Mii costume there. I am bracing for a potential Mii costume upgrade. I'd be okay with that. I'd really actually just love to see Geno like officially in 3D rendered. Which that would be. But a fully playable Geno, like you said, with Ridley, K. Rool, Banjo, like fan characters. I mean, especially like K. Rool. K. Rool's not in the new Donkey Kong games. Like, Nintendo didn't seem to really care about that character. And that was another one that got a Mii costume in Smash 4. We had the ballot, where I imagine Geno did probably okay, given speculative ballot results I've seen online of just fan polls and stuff like that. And Geno's Mii costume in Smash 4 got like a splash screen, like he was a new fighter, like a new character. He's the only Mii costume that got that. And ever since then, it's felt like, okay, is he coming? And so I'm hopeful, but prepared. I've been through the disappointment many times before this, so I'm prepared. And I understand Geno is a side character from a video game from 1996. Like I get what I'm asking for here, but we will see. We will see.
Yeah,
cool.
I think Square has to play ball.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The interesting thing with that is Geno is in Smash. Period.
That's true.
Like. He's a spirit. Like, if Nintendo had to pay for something to get the rights to use him in Smash,
they've done it.
They've done it. They've talked to Square about that. Cloud didn't come with. There's no Sephiroth. There's no Tifa. Like, these characters aren't spirits in Smash. Nintendo went and talked to Square about Geno and Mallow. Those are the only spirits we got with Cloud. Square spirits besides Cloud. So, that's the door's open if they want to do it. And I feel like with the second pass, which is more like, let's do the first pass, see if we can get more. I feel like a lot of those characters that Sakurai wanted to do, like the ARMS character, might get in the second pass. And Geno might be one of those, okay, what are the fan favorite characters? Banjo, Ridley, K. Rool, etc. I think Geno's probably there, but I could see him being lower on the tier of like, who do we need to put in? But now that we're in a second pass, it seems like a time that it could legitimately happen. So I'm excited, but trying not to get my hopes up too much.
Well, unless there's anything else Super Smash specific that anybody wants to talk about, I thought maybe we could just kind of talk about leaks and rumors and speculation and that kind of stuff broadly, or we did, I should say, because when we first talked about having you on, we were it was around when it felt like Nintendo was kind of putting a big effort into squashing leaks. There's a lot of people who had been leaking stuff that publicly said they weren't going to anymore or were backing off because of all the attention they were getting. And it felt like Nintendo was putting a lot of pressure on individuals and websites and stuff that were leaking things. So I thought maybe we could talk about that. And also we've actually done an episode in the past about the ethics of leaks and kind of what it, because we trade in them too. We talk about them all the time, every week. But there's some I'd like to hear your thoughts on that kind of stuff too. So do you get that impression that Nintendo has been putting a lot of, effort into stopping some of the more prominent leakers, or do you think that
kind of specifically like Sabi, right? Like that was one who came out like last year before E3 being like, okay, I'm getting lots of pressure right now. I'm not going to be doing leaks for a while. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And then stopped again recently too, or publicly said that. Yeah. What do you think about that, PapaGenos? Does that seem evident to you, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree that has happened. I've seen it with quite a few people. I talk to Sabi. I'm friends with Sabi. We talk and stuff like that, and have shared information that we've heard and things. So yeah, I definitely think that has happened. I don't want to get too specific about like Nintendo threaten anybody or anything like legal or anything. I'm not going to talk about that sort of thing. But I do think, yes, I have seen quite a few of the people that are prominent in the leaks and rumors and such community kind of go quiet lately. Part of that might be simply because I think the whole gaming industry is slowed a bit. Just with the state of the world, but it was sort of happening before all that. So yeah, I definitely think there was a push potentially from Nintendo to quiet leakers to some extent. So yeah, as far as the ethics and everything of leaking and all that stuff, yeah, I'm always torn about it as well. I just like speculating on stuff. I always call what I do speculation. If other people are leaking or somebody else tells me information, somebody who has an insider connection has signed some agreement not to leak anything, tells me something and I'm speculating based on what I've heard or if it's out there and everything. I just like speculating. I find it fun. It keeps me excited about games that I otherwise maybe go quiet for months. And, if I can speculate on it, I just think it's fun. It's something I just like to talk about. But as far as the ethics of it go, yeah, it's tough. I like to find out things as early as possible. I'm the type of person, if there's a reveal for something, I'm watching it. If something does leak, I'm reading it for something that I like. But it's sort of a game that is fun when you lose.
Yes.
At least from a speculation perspective. I like to try to figure it out, but I also like to be surprised in the end. So it's sort of like, try to make sure nothing leaks to me, but I am going to be looking for anything that might leak to me. So that's how I look at it. Ethically wise, though, yeah, it's a weird gray area. I do feel bad about it. Like I'm not looking to give away gaming insider info. I'm not looking to spoil the surprise for something. I'm just someone who personally, as a civilian here, something if that's what you want to call it, it would just be scouring the internet for any information I can get about the games that I love because it keeps me excited. And I like talking about that. And I like, now that we, have an internet where we can talk to everybody and YouTube and forums and stuff, I like sharing that. I like having that community. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think you echoed a lot of the things we talked about in that episode. And I agree. Like I kind of am so thankful there are fake rumors. I think I said that on that episode too, because that way we never know, right? I mean, like all these things make it more interesting. Like you said, it's more fun to lose. I like that.
It's like, we're video game fans, and it's like the whole kind of speculation and leaks thing is kind of a game in and of itself. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's part of the fun, and it's like, and that on top of the fact that we're just in a culture of leaks anyway, whether it be in video games or in Hollywood or political leaks, this White House is leaking like a sieve. And so I think that's just the culture of where we're at. And it's kind of, once the stuff is out there and once the floodgates are open, it's kind of hard to stop it at a certain point, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I feel like you said, just the way the world is so connected now, the way absolutely anyone with any kind of connection can pull out generally their phone in their pocket, jump on the World Wide Web and post something somewhere. It's like, like you said, movies, gaming, political stuff, whatever it is, stuff just kind of leaks now. So as a gaming fan, I'm just part of that, I'd be part of that world whether I had the YouTube channel or not.
Right.
And that world's going to exist whether or not I talk about it. So, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. And I think like part of that, what is so great about your channel to gush a little bit about, your channel and what you do, and kind of what we can try to do is like, it's all about the intention of talking about leaks and speculation. Right. It's like, it's a unethical to say like, give me your leaks so I can sell YouTube ads, so I can get money off the ads, and therefore continue this like capitalistic content creation. I feel like that is unethical if that's like the intent going into the content creation. Like what you're saying is what we try to do too, is like, this is really fun for us. We're all gamers. We love talking about games. We love speculating. And like, just to echo what you said before, like love being wrong about stuff. I
exactly.
love being like surprised. Even like to go back to your mock writer stuff and all of the the Grinch leaks that happened back around the holidays 2019. Like that was like hype. Like I can't even talk about and find the words to describe.
I still have
hype level was
PTSD
at.
from the Grinch leak. Yeah.
So, same here. And the roller coaster ride of like Grinch leak to it's not true to then Banjo getting in at E3 was like, it was this whole thing. And it was like, it was fun. Like, that's fun. Yeah, I was disappointed the Grinch leak was fake, but like Banjo still got in. Like, that was exciting. So, I like that ride is fun to me.
Quick aside. Did we ever find out who did the Grinch leak, or are they still unknown?
Unknown.
That's crazy because it's like
as far as
like the Rayman leak, like the fake Rayman leak. Like he ended up coming out and being like, "I did this," and now he's got a pretty successful YouTube channel where he does lots of art stuff.
Artsy Omni.
Yeah, but it's like. Like this dude who did the Grinch leak seems to really have just done it for the lulz, right?
Well, the thing with the Grinch leak, so Artsy Omni did like it's splash screen with Rayman comes out, it's just his art,
right?
Just really good art, tricked everybody. There's nothing really wrong with that. He put out a piece of art and it tricked everybody. I think the Grinch leak though is that and the reason it was so like what it wasn't really about like, oh, this image looks so great. It was far from that. It was like a blurry, printed out image. The thing was that it was attached to like a real life company that makes actual products for Nintendo sometimes, or like gaming products, and they make like media stuff. And there was like a person's receipt with an actual name of somebody. So like, if the person who made that comes out, like, legal issues like that.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, they're not coming out. They're not taking credit for that one. I have thought, so the Kako Mallow leak, you guys aware of that one?
Oh, yeah.
So that one's out there. Some people have discredited it. Other people are still holding on to it. I'm kind of like 50-50 on it, especially after Vault Boy now, because we got Bethesda.
That would have made sense for that to be at the same time, right? So
right, yeah. I mean, there's two ways to look at it. It's like, would they save Vault Boy for Doom Guy? Or does this now mean Bethesda is in Smash, so that lends some credibility to Doom Guy coming?
Vault Boy not have had as big a splash after Doom Guy, right?
Right, yeah, that too. So I don't know. It's like it's a weird thing, but I've been talking about just on my Discord with some people about how it would be really ironic because a lot of people have kind of given up on Kakomel, like, oh, it's been too long or whatever. Really ironic if that one turned out to be legit, because it's like the Grinch leak, everybody believed, or like a lot of people believed it anyway, and then I believed it.
Yeah, me too.
And then it turned out to be fake. And then Kakomel, a lot of people kind of disregarded that one, and then it's like, oh, Doom Guy's in Smash, and it's real. Like it'd be interesting to learn the opposite lesson of the Grinch leak. The Grinch leak is basically like, don't trust leaks; they can be faked. And then Kakomel would be like, well, trust some leaks because they can be real sometimes. Like I would love to get that ironic duality there, but we'll see what happens.
Yep. Just to circle back to like the ethics part, and to rewind to our previous part of this episode, like we talked about Crash, like we were speculating if that was real, or so like companies like play into our leak speculation, like actively.
Oh yeah.
And so it also doesn't feel, it feels okay and it feels ethical to talk about, these leaks and speculation, because companies are playing into our hands and using it for their own marketing anyways.
Yeah. Like people think that maybe, this is a terrible example because I don't think this is really true, but like that they made a bad Sonic design for that Sonic movie. And then, like that gave a lot of, and then they always intended to do it better or something. You know what I mean? I don't know.
The all press is good press principle.
Yeah, exactly. That they intentionally put stuff out there and that kind of stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard that like basically conspiracy theory or whatever, that theory, whatever you want to call it, about the Sonic movie, but or something else like we had SNK leaked before Terry happened. But honestly, knowing it was an SNK character, I think probably made Terry's reveal exception a little better than maybe it would have been if people hadn't braced for that it was going to be SNK. So was that on purpose? I mean, it was from an official Nintendo website. I don't know. Yeah. Again, that's very conspiracy theory stuff to say companies do this on purpose. But sometimes a leak, I think, can actually make the reception better to when something actually comes out, or build hype for it, like the recent Crash stuff leaking right before it got revealed. I think this whole week has been a lot of Crash hype, instead of just one moment of it. It's been a whole week of it. And then on the ethics of it all too, it's one thing when that stuff's out on the internet too. I do feel a little different about like someone claiming to have a piece of information saying this game's coming out or this character's coming to Smash, something like that, is a little different than like someone saying like, oh, I have the files for this whole game. Put it on the internet. People can download it and play it. That to me is a totally different league.
Agreed.
That is a different realm. And that's something I would never touch or condone or anything like that. Right. So yeah, I see those as two different things. I think companies maybe don't necessarily see them quite so different. But yeah, I think some screenshots of something that maybe get out, word of mouth, believe it or not stuff.
Yeah.
But actual, like, here's the game,
Totally.
lose sales on the game stuff is, that's wrong in my opinion.
Or like putting the, first 10 minutes of a game up before it comes out or something like that. Yeah, that does cross the line.
We saw a lot of that with Last of Us too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, storyline driven games, if you're giving away like plot and whole cutscenes and stuff, it's very different than a screenshot here or there or someone saying, I think this is what I heard happens in the game. And then it's up to you to be like, I don't know if I believe this random person.
Yeah.
So
can I ask a question? I think what do you think Sakurai thinks about leaks for Smash? Because I mean, I'm sure he doesn't like them, right? Like,
Sure.
I think he probably wants all the reveals to be full, surprises whenever they come out. Do you think that he's come around a little bit to it more, or do you think he's like accepting more that these things end up getting leaked and maybe he works that into his reveals a little bit? Like maybe that's a reason that they just said straight up, it's going to be an ARMS character this time,
Yeah, that's a possibility. I cannot speak for Sakurai or what's on his mind or anything, whatever. It's completely hypothetical. I would imagine as the guy who's making the game, he wants it to be a surprise. He wants to have control when that surprise comes out. Totally understandable. Obviously he wants his company to be as secret as possible about these things. And that's totally valid stance. But I'll harken back to what I said about like SNK maybe made the reception for Terry, I think, a little better when people knew like for a week before it happened that it was going to be an SNK character. I think ARMS with Min Min also helped. I mean, that wasn't a leak, but I think that did help the reception. I think one of the issues with Byleth was that, or the reception to Byleth, I'll say, was that there was a lot of hype going into the last character of the pass. I know Reggie said something at the Game Awards about a year earlier that made it sound like the whole pass was going to be third-party characters, things we wouldn't expect. Fire Emblem is something I think everyone expects in Smash. So, we had a lot of hype for something that ended up being surprising in a... I mean, there's Fire Emblem fans, there's Fire Emblem Three Houses fans, people who like Byleth, totally valid, stance on that. But I think the overall reception was pretty negative, and that probably could have been softened had at least Nintendo had said something like, it will be a first-party Nintendo character. Something like that, I think, would have helped.
I think it's crazy, too, that's like the one... I feel like that's one of the only characters that didn't leak beforehand. It's a Fire Emblem character.
Yeah, it was probably because it was in-house Nintendo, too.
Yeah, and same with ARMS, right? Like, I think because they're both in-house, they could control that better. Cool. Well, I think we've talked for a while. So, I mean, if there's anything else we want to talk about real quickly to kind of wrap up this discussion, anything else anybody wants to ask or share before we move on, please do
just
so
like
now.
we're talking about Smash, but if like we zoom out to look at other fighting games that have a similar kind of model of DLC, we look at Mortal Kombat or we looked at Killer Instinct. Like recently, Mortal Kombat 11, they released RoboCop. Mm-hmm. And that feels the response to that was like, oh yeah, RoboCop fits in the Mortal Kombat universe. And like that feels differently. And as a fan of Mortal Kombat, and I know a lot of lore about Mortal Kombat because I love the series and I played it a lot growing up. But the way that I speculate about Mortal Kombat and the characters coming to that series feels differently to speculating about Smash. And maybe it's due to the fan base or due to just loving Nintendo characters. But just like comparing them, that they look similar and then they feel similar sometimes. But Smash is just this huge like hype behind anything that they announced for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It does have like this other level of like hype surrounding it.
It's so heightened, the hype for what characters can get in. There's something about getting in Smash that is just like this. It's like a lofty trophy for that character or that game series if they've made it in Smash for whatever reason. Did Mortal Kombat 11, am I correct in saying there was like, I think a data mine that sort of gave away a lot of the DLC beforehand or something like that?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I've noticed that with a lot of other fighting games, there seems to be, I think, even more leaks for DLC characters than Smash. So I think just again, the world that we're living in with internet access, people are good at data mining games. We have amateur people at home that have the skills of the programmers that are making these games. So a lot of stuff like that just kind of happens these days. So I think Smash, surprisingly, even with how many Smash leaks or talking about Smash leaks happen, is well guarded. Probably the best guarded.
You think at this point too, they'd like learn not to put data in the game that could be right. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like especially with Ultimate, they've gotten pretty good at it. Like, I know there was some of like the ponytail like stuff and and what Brave with Hero and stuff like that was in the game. Yeah. But since then, we haven't really seen a lot of that. I think they've definitely caught wise to the fact that people are digging through this.
Well, in Smash 4, people data mined Roy and Ryu. And that their names were just in there. It was known before it happened, which was unfortunate because it was like months before it happened, and Ryu would have been really huge to have like revealed. But I remember being very like, "Yep, okay, it happened." Like, because we knew about it for so long beforehand, and you can't really argue with data mine stuff. So then for Smash Ultimate, if it's in the game, like it's in the game. And then for Ultimate, they've been using code names, but it seems like that was only with like base game, and I think they've been really careful with all of the versions that they put out that they like scrub all that from it. But I think it's even tough to do that. Even if you use code names in the data, like actually working on a game, getting it done, and then also being like, okay, not only is the character done and everything on a release done, we got to make sure we go back and scrub any weird little thing we were working on out of the data. That's tough to do. So, if another code name happens, it could definitely happen. But they're smart enough to at least be using code names here. So,
Yeah, it makes it more fun anyway when you're trying to figure out what the code names mean.
The code names are cool. I actually kind of wish they'd just leave them all in there. Like, here you go, enjoy.
Brave,
Or make code names that like sound like one character, but it's like
right. That's why
Master Chef. It's in there. It's like, oh, we got Cookie Mama.
Master Chef. I think if I were to wrap any of this up, I think I would say to Mr. Sakurai, because I know he's listening. I hope that I hope at least like, because I'm sure like some of this can kind of break his stride, but I hope like at the end of the day he can see that the only reason like everybody goes so fucking wild for the Smash speculation and these leaks and rumors and all that stuff is because people really, really love this series, right? And it's like, I mean, if anything, it just shows like when you have a rabid fan base like this, it shows that like what you're doing is really, really working. And I hope at the end of the day, like he doesn't feel too like disheartened when stuff leaks, and more it's like this is only happening because the sheer amount of love for the series, and not just Smash, but like all of Nintendo, right? And so, so anyway, that's what I would hope that he takes away from it.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better myself. The emotions for Smash are high. The exciting parts, the disappointing parts, the leaks and everything, the rabid fan base, that is all because the emotions for Smash are so high because people love this so much because Sakurai and his team are doing such a good job. Nintendo's done such a good job with all these games. Any companies that are getting in Smash have done a great job with their games. That's why people, care this much about this stuff. So I totally agree with that.
I think that's a great place for us to end this discussion and for us to take a real brief break. And then when we come back, we'll talk all about the video games that the four of us have been playing recently. I have been playing more Kunai. Kunai, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. We had an interview with the developer earlier this year on here. It's a great Metroidvania game. I am on the final boss now. And David and Matt, y'all have played this game and you warned me that the end of this game is very hard. I just got to the final boss this afternoon. But based on y'all's recommendation or warning, I should say, I I have to admit that I got an online guide to find all of the heart pieces to upgrade my health all the way. So I will report back next week to see if I agree with whether the final boss is difficult or not.
It's fucking hard. Yeah.
It's crazy. I eventually beat it, but it took a couple hours.
And then I did want to tell y'all that my 5-year-old son and I have been playing Yoshi's Crafted World again. He and I beat it when it first came out, but he's a little older now. I don't know, it came out 2 years ago, maybe, give or take. And 2 years makes a big difference, or maybe it was a year and a half. I don't know. So he's doing a lot better. We're playing through that again. We already beat it, actually. I wanted to revisit this game on the podcast too, to mention that I was kind of down on it when I first played through it, but playing through it again with my son again, it's a really great game for like a younger kid. It's such a colorful, fun game, and comparing it to something else that's sort of similar to like Kirby Star Allies, Yoshi's the better game. It's visually more interesting. There's more varied gameplay, and that kind of stuff. And it's a little bit harder too. And then I had to mention this. I'm talking a lot about my son, but he started watching of his own volition. Well, because of my influence, but the old Super Mario Brothers cartoon is on Netflix.
Nice.
And he was like, "Oh, Mario, I want to watch that." And he's been like, I did not tell him to watch it. He's just been watching it nonstop. Like on the iPad whenever we let him watch TV. There you go. PapaGenos is pulling up the
is that
like,
a VHS
of it. So it's not a terrible show. It's not a great show.
But it is great. You take that back. Especially the live action segments.
Ooh, yes. It's just so 80s. Like Cyndi Lauper is on an episode. Like every episode has like a guest from like that era. It's pretty funny. And then like, they're the Mario brothers. They really lean into the brothers, like Luigi Mario and stuff like, so it's just funny to watch. And like, after we've had, 20 more years of Mario, it's also weird to hear Mario talk. That's not Charles Martinet, but anyway.
Do you know the Cyndi Lauper, Lou Albano story?
The Cyndi, no, were they like an item or something?
No. So Lou Albano, who plays Mario in the Superstar show, so he was on a plane with Cyndi Lauper, and and they got talking, became friends, and he was like a professional wrestler. Right. This was before wrestling like really exploded. This is like, I think early mid 80s, something like that. And I don't know how old you guys are and stuff, but like late 80s, early 90s, like, Hulk Hogan wrestling was like, wrestling was really big. And wrestling was pretty underground at that point. And he made a call to her after they were on a plane and like exchanged numbers and stuff like that. And that's the reason that like WrestleMania, I don't know which one it is. I'm not a huge wrestling fan. I just know this story for whatever reason. He made a call to her to get that WrestleMania, whatever one it was, like on some television program. It was like Fox or NBC or something like that, whatever it was that she was like connected to. And that's really the only reason why like wrestling exploded in the 80s was because Lou Albano was on a plane with Cyndi Lauper. So have you mentioned that she was in that show? I don't think I've seen that episode, or I didn't connect it.
It's funny because
they're friends.
It's about wrestling too. It's weird because it's like, our listeners are going to tune out here, but like, as I give the plot of an episode of this, but, Captain Lou Albano plays Mario, but he's also playing himself in this episode, and he's missing. And Cyndi Lauper is like leading a like search and rescue kind of thing for Captain Lou Albano. And so, like every once in a while, Mario will leave the room to go do something, and then Captain Lou Albano will come in.
Oh my God. I love it.
Anyway, okay, that's enough about that. David or one of y'all talk about.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'll go next because I have a good segue. I did watch the live action Super Mario Brothers movie recently.
Nice.
Because I was hanging out with my girlfriend and she had never seen it, and she watched a trailer for it. And was like, what the fuck is this? And then we like sat and watched it. And I don't know. I had a really great experience watching that movie again. And in fact, I work in animation and I have to, do a lot of like storyboarding stuff. And so I put a lot of like temp music into animatics and stuff like that for episodes. And, I I'm not gonna lie. In one of the episodes I did recently, I used the Super Mario Brothers movie soundtrack. But anyway, it's a good set. Alan Silvestri did the soundtrack. It's a good score. But moving on to the actual games I've been playing.
The guy who did Blade Runner did like the set design for the Mario Bros movie too. So the set design's actually really cool. It just doesn't fit Mario, but it's really cool.
The movie has a great pedigree of like creatives that are working on it. It just was an absolute fucking mess. But going on to actual games I've been playing. Speaking of Sasha, I've been playing more Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, and we played a little bit of chess, so that was fun. I taught Sasha chess. She'd never played before, and we had a great time. I've won once, she's won once, so I'll report back next week with who won the 2 out of 3 game there. Let's see. Other than that, I've been playing a little bit of Binding of Isaac again. It's been a long time since I played that game, so it was nice to go back to. And then obviously Star Wars Racer just came out today, so I've been playing that a little bit. Not a ton, but enough to where I can say it's a great port. If you're worried about the port for the game, don't be worried about it. It's not like a remaster or anything like that. Or, I mean, I guess it is a remaster. It's not a remake. They didn't like add any new assets into the game. They basically took the PC version and up-resed it to 1080, and it runs like at a like butter smooth 60 frames per second. But other than that, it's the game that you remember. But it plays really well on the Switch, and it does have a little bit of motion control and some HD rumble. So it's a really good port. I recommend that if you are nostalgic for that game. And then lastly, I've been revisiting Indivisible. I talked about this on the podcast a little bit before. It's a 2D RPG Metroidvania hybrid from the creators of Skullgirls with like a really wonderful 2D animated art style. And I finally have like gotten enough into the game where I'm at the point where I can't really put it down. And I just can't speak enough about the battle mechanics in that game. It just plays so well, and it's so unique with the kind of like single button combat for each of the characters that you have in your party. The one problem I've been having with the game is there's this one enemy in this one town that is just like so much harder than the rest of all the enemies. And it's like, I'm doing really, I'm like just smoking enemies when I get into battles. And then this one enemy, it's a soldier type, that I fight against, like kills me, like one shots me every single time. And I've watched videos on YouTube of the PC version of this game, and they don't attack like they do in the Switch version. So I think the Switch version might be slightly bugged. Yeah. And this character is like too powerful. So that's a bit of a buzzkill. But once I beat that section, I'm going to beat this game and not have to do the same battle over and over again. But what about you, Matt? What have you been playing?
I am 60 hours into Xenoblade, give or take. And so this is my 3rd time playing through it, and this is the first time where I've played as other characters other than Shulk. Because you can control any character, but right now I am playing as, without giving spoilers, Seven is usually how you refer to the person. And playing as Seven, and have Dunban and Shulk in my party. And this is what I would like to do every year when I'm playing Chrono Trigger, is like mix up the party and try to play it new. And it feels fresh and it feels different because I'm playing it in a different way. And man, it's just such a good story. And I forget all the times they talk about like how big the Bionis and Mechonis is. They're like, look how big, I look so small. And they just repeat that phrase over and over again.
60 hours of it?
Yeah, 60 hours of like saying, we are small people on this giant Titan. But just like what they did for the draw distance for the definitive edition, being able to see Bionis and Mechonis when you're like on the lower levels of the Titans just makes me more and excited for Breath of the Wild 2, since Monolith is working on it.
Yeah, for sure.
PapaGenos, how about you?
Sure, yeah. I haven't played the Xenoblade Definitive Edition yet, unfortunately. I definitely want to check it out, though, because especially what you just said with the draw distance and everything. Last time I played it was the 3DS one that came out, so it was kind of a bit of a downgrade. So I'd like to see, really, really good graphics with it and everything on the Switch. But what I've been playing recently, today I was playing Pikmin 2 randomly. Hopefully...
Nice.
There's been like rumors that Pikmin 3 was like going to get a port to Switch, but haven't heard anything yet. And I feel like, kind of cheated here because E3 didn't happen. So I feel like that would have been something I would have seen already, but not yet. But I was playing Pikmin 2 earlier. Besides that, Pokemon DLC, Isle of Armor, which is pretty cool. Sword and Shield hasn't, like, I don't know, it never really hooked me. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm a big Pokemon fan, but it just didn't hook me too much. But the DLC's better so far. I haven't had a ton of time to play it, though. So hopefully I'll have more time to play that one soon. But yeah, that's pretty much been the only things I've really been playing. I mentioned before, I got Vault Boy on my mind and stuff, that I do still play Fallout 76. I played not too recently, but the Wastelanders content for it, which was much better than base game. Still hard to recommend the game because I trudged my way through the base game to get to a decent level, and then when Wastelanders came out, I got to just focus on that. So I don't know if I can really say Wastelanders is pretty good. Go out and buy the game, because you may have to trudge through 50 levels to get to a part of the game that's decent. But I had fun with it. So yeah, that's pretty much. I'm trying to think of anything else I really played recently. I think that's about it.
That's a good amount of games.
Yeah, right on. Awesome. Well, I think that just about does it then for today's episode. Thank you so much, PapaGenos, for coming on the show and talking to us.
Yeah, that was a blast, man.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys for having me on here. It was really fun. I had a good time. If you guys ever want to do this again, hit me up. I'd love to, make this a semi-regular thing or something. Come on. Love to do that. It'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk to you sometime, not just about Smash League.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. Sorry to Chris McKeever, we did not play Disney Tsum Tsum Festival. If you want to find me online, Patrick, I am PDYX most places.
You can find me on Twitter, Matthew, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Papa? Where can people find you?
Go on YouTube, type in PapaGenos. That's my YouTube channel. There's links to all my other stuff there. My Discord, my Twitter, stuff like that. But generally my main source of stuff is the YouTube channel PapaGenos. So check me out there.
Definitely check out PapaGenos on YouTube. If we haven't already sold you on PapaGenos YouTube channel in the past, I think you're sold after today's episode, right?
Yeah, and shout out to Ant Keeps Gaming for kind of hooking this up as
also,
well, right?
Check him out too. Yeah.
Yeah, we the reason we had Ant Keeps Gaming on the show is because he basically made you tell us to put him on our show whenever he had a talk with you, and so it worked. So
he mentioned you guys, sent me a link to your one of the podcasts or whatever. I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, it's really great or whatever. We were talking about it, and he was like, can you tell them that'd be great? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I was like, tell them the same thing, so.
Yeah,
scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, kind of thing,
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's an active member of our Discord now, which is pretty fun.
Nice.
If you want to find our show on social media, we are at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We are at Switch Headz on Twitter. If you're interested, please join our Facebook group. It's popping off. It's growing every single day. That's Switch Headz in all caps, and we have a Discord as well, which you can find a link for in the Facebook group. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to today's episode about Smash Leaks with PapaGenos. We got a great episode lined up for you next week with another excellent guest. I can't wait to talk about that next week. And other than that, keep listening. We love you guys very much. Stay safe out there. Keep fighting the good fight. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.